Welcome to solverfy.
Once again, welcome to a new problem, and this time we're dealing with economics, or what you can think of a hybrid of economics and accounting, where we have costs. Of course, you've come across different types of costs, not just in accounting, but also in economics. For example, you could have economic costs, or you could also have accounting costs. So economic costs pretty much deal with opportunity cost, where you have alternate projects or decisions to make, and then you choose one over the other. And so the opportunity cost is the cost of choosing project A over project B, or vice versa. So in this case, whenever you have plants, maybe they're factory plants, you're going to have different types of costs. There are costs which are manufacturing based costs, and these costs can come in at the planning stage. So at the planning stage, for example, you can plan to build or to build some kind of specific equipments, and then once you make the planning and you budget for the costs in the future, those costs are gonna be affected. So you could have two types of costs: so planned costs versus affected costs. Planned costs versus affected costs. So in this particular type of problem, we are given a requirement where the problem is saying to discuss whether or not it is appropriate to distinguish between locked in costs and cost incurrence. So we want to see whether or not it makes sense to distinguish between these two. So in our case, we're going to say that when costs are locked in, then they have already been planned for the future. Even though these types of costs have not been incurred. This distinction is appropriate because the planned costs will be affected at the manufacturing stage. So we're saying that it's going to happen anyways. And these costs have therefore been locked in at the planning stage. So I disagree with the claim. I disagree with the claim that it is not important to distinguish between cost occurrence and locked in costs. This distinction is necessary because changing costs that have already been locked in is difficult. It's difficult. So, once again, we had a problem and we wanted to see if it makes sense to distinguish between locked in costs and cost occurrence. And so some people say, we should not have the distinction. Other people say we should have the distinction. I agree that we should have a distinction, and that's because the locked-in costs happen at the planning stage, where once you set them up, then it's difficult to change them. And then the cost occurrence happens at the manufacturing stage at a different point in time, where once you incur the cost, then that's when you're going to see how much was supposed to be spent on specific projects. So hope you enjoy the problem. Feel free to send any questions or comments, and have a wonderful day.